Hello again. All right, today we're going to be going through how to add students to the class that you just created. So I'm going to start fresh and just click log in. Maybe. There we go. And since I did everything within first grade, I'm going to continue that trend. Anytime you log in, you're going to have to click on the teacher's edition that you want to go to and teach in. So go ahead and click on your grade level and it takes you to your home screen here. I'm going to go under the Manage and Assign and that's where you'll find class details. So the class that I just created was called Mrs. Thompson's class, and it is grade level 1. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on Add Students. There are actually a couple of different ways that you can do this. For the lower elementary classes that are not using Google Classroom, I would strongly recommend you clicking on the plus students and just adding them here. After I go through this process, I'll show another option for upper elementary that is using Google Classroom. So all you're going to do is click on this plus students, and unfortunately I do not have classes broken into grade levels or anything yet, so the way you're going to have to search is by using your class list. And then going in, you can choose to search by first name, last name, or username. I would just recommend going in and just type the first couple of letters. So CAR is going to bring up any student who has the first 3 letters, CAR. And since I'm going to first grade, I'm going to click on Carissa and save. So she's added now, and you can see her right down here. Then you go to your next student, first name, and Swayze is next, so go ahead and click on that. Now if you want to add students and see several of them, you can just type the first initial, but you're going to see every student who has the first initial C. So then you'll click on the ones that you want, only the ones that are in first grade. But let's say by accident I put Camille in this first grade class, and I know that she's not in my class, so I need to get rid of her. All I'm going to do is click on this remove, and it takes her right out. So if you make an accident when you're inputting students, no big deal. So now I have 2 students in my class. I would use that same process to go down the entire list and make sure all students are in my class. All right, so that is one way to add students to your class. The other way that you can add students is by doing this view class code and sharing it, okay? So if you view the class code, it's going to come up with some directions here for you, and your class code is right here. So you would need to copy that class code, and students are going to have their username and password, which all usernames and passwords, the username is the same as to get onto the computer. The password is the same, except after their typical password, they add dot and then their graduation year. So for example, when I look at Carissa's, her normal password is IOHOA. In this case, it's going to be IOHOA dot and then her graduation year 2032. Another thing that we had to do is we had to make the first letter capital because McGraw-Hill requires a capital letter and a lowercase in their password. So if your students are trying to log in, make sure that they have their regular computer password with the first letter capitalized, then dot, and then their graduation year. If you have any issues with students logging in and that doesn't fix it, let me know and I will see what I can do to get their password changed for them so they can get logged in. But once a student is logged in, they will see a window like this and they can click on this join a class. That's when they'll need to have this class code. So if you send out a link to McGraw-Hill in your Google Classroom and just have students click on that link and then sign in, they can click on that join class and then enter in that class code and it will add all of them in. To be completely honest, I've never tried it that way. I always had my students added in advance just because then I was sure every single student was in the class. And so I knew that we would be good to go. But those are your two options. If you're using a Google Class, you can do it this way. Otherwise, just click on this plus students and add your students. One other really cool thing I want to show you from here. So under this manage and assign and staying in class details, once you have your class set up here and all of your students are in, you can go ahead and put your students, assign your students to certain groups based on where they are. So after we do our Acadience testing and our map testing and you have your students grouped accordingly, you can go in here and I can say that I know Carissa is in my beyond group, my on level group, or my approaching level group. And then I can change it in here. I can say that Swayze is in my approaching, on, or beyond. And then when I'm assigning things, I can assign it to only my approaching group, or I can assign it to only my on-level group. The one thing that you want to make sure that you do is if you're making changes to your groups, make sure that you go in here and make changes here. Or else the stuff that you're assigning to each group is not getting to the correct student. All right, so that is how to add students and to put them in different groups. I'm going to go ahead and remove both of these students so they are available when Whitney or Crystal goes in to add their students. But there you go. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.